This is a 2008 Lotus something.
Oh my god.
I don't know what the make is.
It was
You know why? Because I never got into cars, and neither did you. Welcome to the second episode of the Too Bad We Didn't Get Into Cars podcast. I'm your co-host, David Kapushikars.
And I'm Nick Scarpin Auto, and today we have a load of topics to get into. The intro was not planned, but as you'll find out later...
I planned it in my head.
Okay, David planned it, but as co-host, I feel like a barrier of trust has been breached, and I don't know how the rest of this episode is going to go. I'm just kidding. As you can see, for those of you who are watching, we've kind of changed things up a little bit. Now, instead of sitting in front of my broken mirror that I viciously ripped off of my wall last time, we're sitting in front of my nice cozy corner with Vanessa. Vanessa here is my one and only Squishmallow. And because we're introducing a new cast member, I might as well give her a little introduction too. So this is Vanessa. She is a blue fox with a tuft of rainbow fur, and her bio is as follows. When she's not rock climbing with her friend Tula, you can find Vanessa practicing for her latest choir concert. She loves to sing and has a new solo to practice, her first one this year. Will you help her practice? And I saw that tag and I thought, absolutely, I would die for Vanessa. This little fox has stolen my heart. I think she's a fox or she's a husky. She has been pretty quiet despite my constant pestering of her, so I don't know if I'll ever find out because her lips are sealed tight. But our lips are definitely not sealed at all. We will talk way too much about a various number of things. But first and foremost, I want to kind of catch us up on what happened to both of us in the last week really quickly, because some really cool updates to last week's podcast. First and foremost, I think I already said first and foremost, but I love being redundant. Have I said that I love being redundant yet?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, I love being redundant. And last week, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I tried sushi or ramen for the first time because we went to go see the Jujutsu Kaisen movie and we went to ramen afterwards. And the restaurant that we went to was called Strings. So it was Strings Ramen. And I made a post because I've been trying to do this like weekly check-in post on social medias just to one get something out there. So I feel like I'm more present on social media than I am. But also, it kind of helps to organize my thoughts and look back at like photos that I've taken in the week or memes that I've screenshotted and want to share. And so I posted about trying ramen for the first time, and I posted a picture in the ramen shop, and so I tagged them. I found them on Instagram, and I tagged them. And the next day, they liked the post. Like the Strings Ramen shop liked the post on Instagram.
That's kind of badass.
It was so cool. I freaked out and I was like, oh, I have to talk about this on the podcast because this is a cool follow-up. So I feel like a celebrity. They have like 18,000 followers. So I stood out enough to them to be worthy of their like. And I crave attention and what's the word I'm looking for? That was me hitting my head.
I don't know the word either.
Oh, come on, man. Like, you had two jobs. Memorize the name of the... We're going to have to bleep that out. I don't know if we can. No, I mean, affirmation. I constantly seek... Well, yeah, because one of the love languages out of the 5... love languages is words of affirmation. So I'm constantly looking for everyone's approval and affirmation. Yeah, I can't believe you said it.
It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine.
This is a rated R.
Is that really
podcast.
how you think of me? Come on, man.
I were thinking of the word. I was like, what other word for seeking attention is there?
You could have said attention seeker. You could have said
No.
Okay, well, we had the explicit sign on the podcast for the first episode, so you know. But yeah, so that's a cool little update from last week. And then a couple other things that we wanted to touch on this week because I totally forgot until we were editing the podcast for uploading. I mentioned Resident Evil last time and totally forgot to bring it up again. And we also mentioned that you had seen 2 animes, two like shows, Dragon Ball Z and My Hero, but it's actually 3. And we remembered like what the show was.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot about Cowboy Bebop. I mean, it was only like a month ago. We finished it.
Yeah. And so we hope to touch on both of those topics today. Our topics for today are going to be, we just finished episode 4 of Moon Knight, so we got lots of stuff to say about that. We want to talk about Bebop, really quickly because I honestly think it had an impact on our friendship, because I think, I'm not going to go out there and say it's the first anime that you liked, but it was definitely different than the other 2 shows that you had seen. So that was quite impactful. And then we're also going to talk about the band Origami Angel. It was the most recent concert that both of us had went to go see together. And, we have some experiences about that band. And then last but not least, we got our video games. We're going to talk about Pokemon Legends Arceus, or Arceus, depending on if you grew up with the games and no one pronouncing them, or if you were born yesterday, and Lego Star Wars, because David, you finished the game, right?
Yeah, well, I beat all 9 episodes.
Yeah, which is pretty much finishing the game, right? It's not. Yeah.
I saw the credits. All right, the credits rolled. I technically finished the game. Yes,
so it counts. So yeah, we're gonna start with the thing that's freshest in our mind, and then work our way back. Moon Knight. So
spoilers.
Yeah,
for the first 4 episodes of Moon Knight.
Yeah, we're gonna get spoilers out of the way very early. For anyone watching like the clip on YouTube, you're gonna want to click off of this video or keep watching if you don't care about spoilers. So, Oscar Isaac led new show, Disney Plus, newish, the first Disney Plus Marvel show that features a hero that we've never seen before on screen. So exciting territory for the fans, because fans of the comics know Moon Knight as sort of this Deadpool-esque. I don't know. I might have been tainted by all of the memes where people replaced his dialogue with like stuff that he didn't say, like there's a panel where he's throwing all of his weapons, like his boomerangs and his, knives and stuff. And he's like, random bullshit, go. And apparently that wasn't in the comics. And I thought for the longest time that it was. And I was like, oh, this guy's funny. This guy's a joker, baby.
But that is a good point. I didn't even realize that this is the first show that is a new character.
Yeah.
Everything else has been existing ones.
Yeah, so it's either exciting for MCU fans or it's worrisome for MCU fans, because on one hand you have territory that has not been touched and you have source material that has not been touched, and so it's very exciting to see what direction the show is going to go and where the actors are going to take the roles that they play and blah blah blah. But it's also worrisome because as an MCU fan you understand that everything kind of ties together at some point, and other movies and properties that have kind of strayed away from that can be and are experimental. Some people don't like the change and some people don't like the format. I for one appreciate when properties in the MCU kind of change their genre so they don't seem super predictable.
Yeah, considering like if you include all the shows, there's at least like 30 different movies or shows at this point.
Yeah.
And anything new is just really exciting.
Yeah. So I for one was super stoked going into this show, and
especially not knowing who Moon Knight is. I have seen him. I have played Lego Marvel and he was in that game and he was the one that's all in white. Mm-hmm. So I've heard of him. But
yeah, I first heard about him from Marvel Ultimate Alliance. So I don't know if anyone watching has played Marvel Ultimate Alliance, but it was very cool. And I only knew about Moon Knight because he was a DLC character that I could not play because I only had the PS2 version, not the Xbox version where downloadable content could be accessed. So for all intents and purposes, this is both of our pretty much introductions to Moon Knight. And show's not over. We have 2 more episodes to go. But so far, what are your overall thoughts?
Yeah, because this is just like a slightly past mid-season review.
Yeah.
So yeah, episode 1 kind of made me really interested, just because I didn't really understand what was going on with his like weird whatever effect that is, where he switches between Steven and Mark.
Yeah.
And he's always like in a different situation when he comes back as Steven, because we didn't really see Mark in episode 1.
Not until the very end.
Yeah. So it's just Steven's point of view, and you're just like, wow, what is going on?
Mm-hmm.
Dismissing a couple really, really bad CG moments, it was pretty solid.
Yeah,
intro.
Definitely at first, and I kind of cheated a little bit, because in preparation for the show coming out like months ago and getting hype and excited, I definitely looked up a couple of things about Moon Knight. And there are all those YouTube videos that are like 15 things to know about Moon Knight before the show comes out or whatever. So you find out that he suffers from a mental illness called dissociative identity disorder, which is kind of like split personalities, but it's not. It's the way that Oscar Isaac has described it. Reading through the script and studying the character, I think he said something to the extent of, it's like there's a host body, but multiple people living within that host body. So it's a very interesting concept, and one that they tread very lightly, so as not to make light of the illness and people who actually suffer from it, while also not trying to convince people who aren't aware of what that disorder is like, oh, it's a superpower, that's sick. Because throughout the show you hear him, Mark/Steven say, and other characters say, that this character is suffering, and he is in agony, and he's in pain. And I think Oscar Isaac plays that super well when he is Mark, and then as Steven, he's just this mild-mannered museum curator, and he works at a gift shop. And so it is fun getting to see Oscar Isaac, like the actor, switch between both personalities and show off his acting chops. But yeah, episodes 2 and 3 kind of take a not a deep dive, but it definitely starts to slow down a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, episode 2 was fine, although I don't even really remember what happened. And episode 3 was just, minus the cool ending.
Yeah.
It was just kind of boring, and it passed me by. And then we get to episode 4, and like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, episode 4 is, when I say it's unlike anything that the MCU has done so far, I really do mean I don't think we've seen anything like it. It is wild, and especially following all of the exposition that we got in the last 2 episodes, because that's the thing with a new character and a new property, is you have to give them exposition and backstory and blah blah blah. Whereas in shows like WandaVision or Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we already knew who those characters were, so we could get into the meat of the plot and their new character arcs. Whereas with Mark and Steven, we're starting from scratch, and so we're learning about the Egyptian pantheon and all of these Egyptian gods and what avatars are. So there's a lot of talking, and there's a lot of dialogue between characters that are introducing things in the plot to be subverted later, I'm assuming, because there's a lot of things that have been introduced and are still not touched on. Because again, we're only like halfway in the season, but episode 4, I don't know, man. Like, how would you describe episode 4? Because I'm still trying to wrap my head around it.
I wanted to say One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest.
Yes,
but like,
me too.
Also, not really, because there weren't any giant talking lizards that say hi.
I think that was a hippo.
A hippo, whatever it was. A hippo. Hi.
Yeah, that I mean that. Yeah, there's definitely that's the first thing I thought of too. And I don't know, it makes you question what is actually happening in the show, which I think is a really cool idea to throw at the MCU, because up until this point everything has been really connected, and people are talking about the blip everywhere, and people are talking about Thanos and blah blah blah. In this show, you don't hear about any of that at all.
Yeah, well, we do have 2 more episodes left, so
yeah.
And as of now, we haven't heard anything from any other MCU properties.
Yeah, and we'll definitely have to touch back on this show when it's over. But as of right now, like I for me, the show is sitting at a very high rented. Not that you can rent a TV show, but it's kind of like. It's kind of in the middle, and it could go either way here, depending on how it ends. But it's definitely on the rise. I would say it's definitely
My only complaint is honestly Ethan Hawke.
You don't like Ethan Hawke?
No, his character, he literally just walks around slowly and just monologues. That's all he does.
That's true. I mean, he either killed people or was an accessory to murder in the first couple episodes, but he hasn't really done much like that since.
And he's looking for what is the thing? Like the Quidditch?
Yes, well, that's the
what's the ball called in Harry Potter? The Quidditch games?
Oh, the golden snitch?
Yeah, the golden snitch. He's looking for the golden snitch the whole time. And he gets it, and it just
the crossover we never knew we needed. I think there's still some room in the show to grow. So I'm excited to see where it goes. And I'm excited to bring it on the podcast, because I'm sure we're going to have very many thoughts about how it connects to the rest of the MCU and blah, blah, blah. And then we're going to have Doctor Strange, and then we have Ms. Marvel, and then we have Thor Love and Thunder. So we're covered on TV stuff and movie stuff for a while.
Also, Khonshu is really cool.
Khonshu is very cool.
I think I really like how he looks. Also, the main, like the Moon Knight suit is pretty sick.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we didn't get any of it in episode 4. What's the Steven version, Mr. Knight?
Mr.
When he's
Knight,
in a suit. I think that's pretty funny. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to sum up all my thoughts on Moon Knight real fast. Like, what do you? Just the ending of the episode. I think probably what you said was what's going on. It's like a hub world of previous avatars.
Yeah, I have a theory that after Mark gets shot by Arthur Harrow, he wakes up in this psych ward, and we see a bunch of characters that we've already met before, and then the episode ends with Mark kind of remembering what happened in his memory, aka like our memory as the viewer, runs out of the room, walks into another room, finds a coffin, and pushes the top over, and we see Steven, and they're both standing side by side, and they're like, oh my god, it's you. They run back out, and then we see the figure of what looks kind of like Khonshu walking through a big set of double doors. It opens up, and it's this big hippo wearing like Egyptian garb, and the tiniest little voice comes out of it, and the hippo's like, "Hi!" And then both Mark and Steven just scream their heads off. So I don't know, man. I think it is like a separate plane sort of thing. I think it reminds me of like the Wakandan, like the ancestral plane. Where
But also, I just realized that God, I am so bad with names. What's the Layla? Layla was in there too, and Layla was not an avatar.
Yeah, they mentioned that Khonshu wanted to use her as an avatar, so maybe it's like Avatar and they're like candidates. Like maybe that's where people get selected. I don't know. I'll have to look back at the episode. I mean, I'm not going to go back and rewatch the episode probably, but like there will probably be clips explaining like, oh, this character was in the background here, and we saw them at this point in the show, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it's exciting stuff, and we love to speculate. But I think Yeah, I think Moon Knight is an exciting property. If anything, no matter how the show turns out, we can at least look back on it as a very experimental and exciting step into, even just the process of making it.
Yeah, not that WandaVision was that long ago, but not since like those first 2 episodes came out, or just the first like 6, where I was like, man, I can't wait to see next week.
Yeah, there's a lot of intrigue here. So we'll definitely have to catch y'all up on whatever we see and whatever we think about the next couple episodes. But unfortunately, a show that we can no longer really do that with is one that already ended, and we talked about it at the top of the podcast. But Cowboy Bebop. I ended up wanting to watch Cowboy Bebop with David because I had never seen it before, but I wanted to watch it together because the live action version was about to come out. So you can already tell how long ago this was. And I thought, you know what? I think David would like the live action version or prefer it over the anime version, but I want to throw that idea out there just to be like, just in case the live action version kind of, oh no, just in case the live action version crashes and burns, we at least
too soon. How it did.
Yeah.
How it did indeed.
So David, because it was your first time watching like Cowboy Bebop also, but because you kind of came at it from a perspective of someone who hadn't seen a whole lot of anime, overall thoughts, what do you like now that we're a little bit farther removed from finishing the show, which was like a couple months ago? How has it stuck with you?
Yeah, it was a really cool experience. I mean, first of all, dude, the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm gonna look up that composer's name because I don't want to get it wrong.
Yeah, hands down. I mean, yeah. Between Dragon Ball, My Hero, and Cowboy Bebop, Bebop reigns supreme in the music department. Most definitely.
Oh, in the music department. Okay. Okay, I was gonna say.
I don't know how I would rank the shows themselves because they were all pretty much different.
Yeah.
Like I remember binging Dragon Ball Z like 6-7 episodes a day when I was watching it.
Yeah, that's the curse of someone who just gets into anime. And everyone who is like a couple of shows in will look back on those early heydays and they'll be like, remember when I watched an entire season of a show in a day and now I can barely finish like 2? Yeah,
like and My Hero was doing like 3-4 maybe a day.
Yeah.
And then Bebop we only did like 2 every time.
Yeah, because it also didn't help that we were trying to like watch that together. I guess that's the wrong outlook to have. But we got through it very slowly, which I also kind of think impacted the overall experience by the end of it. Because it wasn't something like you could feasibly burn through Cowboy Bebop in less than a week if you wanted to. The 24 episodes, I think.
That's another really appealing part was that it wasn't 160 episodes.
Yeah, there's no Cowboy Bebop Shippuden.
Yeah,
there's no follow-up show.
You got this 24 episode. What is that? Maybe like 8 hours.
Yeah,
about 8 hours.
It's really nothing.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So Yoko Kanno is the composer, and that's one of the openings to all anime for the rest of time. It's so hard to skip Tank by the Seatbelts.
Yeah, the only anime opening I've ever heard that I actually wanted to listen to every time.
Yeah, and the ending isn't bad either. I really like the ending too.
Oh yeah, ending kind of slayed.
Yeah, and it sounds really good on like a 5-to-1 because we got to watch it in my dinky little surround sound system where I have a sound bar and then like a subwoofer and 2 little blah blah blah. But like getting to hear songs that were mixed for that format instead of, I feel like music mixed for anime now is probably done a little bit differently because like I'll watch a show on like Funimation or something. And the opening doesn't sound nearly as good on like in the context of the show as it does like in the car when I'm just like driving around and listening to the recorded version. I don't know why that is, but the Cowboy Bebop music, whoo boy, I never had any issues listening to it here in my room. Yeah, it definitely impacts the tone of the show and it kind of complements the tone of the show really well. Very, it's it's a space cowboy show.
Yeah, like just the tone of the show too is another. Just it was so different from the other ones, you know, just because they were very episodic. There weren't really any like, you know, you could easily watch any episode, and you don't have to, you know, be compelled to watch anything else just because they were pretty much contained stories.
Yeah, and I like that it still manages to introduce character moments and arcs that get brought up later in the show too, like Faye's story. I think Faye ended up being both of our favorite character because we asked each other by the end of the show like who our favorites were, and it's not just because I maybe find her super attractive and am starting to question, you know, whether or not like 3D girls versus 2D. I'm not even gonna say it. I'm not even gonna go that far.
You're gonna stop right now.
Yeah, if I hadn't have messed up, if I hadn't have fumbled my words, it would have come out. Yeah, saved me. It called me from off the ledge. But
I wanted to talk about characters, but Faye. Yeah, we agreed that she's best character.
She's best character.
Just the best. Like, as far as favorite episode goes, besides the one where they're all high as hell.
Yeah, the Ed and Ein episode where they find the mushrooms. I have not laughed that hard at a single episode of anime in so long.
Dude, just what was the part where they talked like Ein barks at the cow and it says like thank you?
Yeah, and the cow's like, yeah, no problem, and it moves, and there are subtitles for what the cow is saying, and it's just like you watch that episode and you feel like you also took a couple of mushrooms. Like it makes you feel a little bit high.
Besides that obvious best episode ever, and also well, to be fair, Ein is the best character on the show.
Yeah, Ein, not even counting Ein, because if Ein isn't your favorite Cowboy Bebop character, you're gonna have to reevaluate your stance on a lot of things.
Yeah, but obviously. As far as, you know, human character, Faye. And yeah, the episode when she like finds the tape and she's like watching it as like her as a kid, like that was good.
Yeah.
That was, I think, my favorite episode.
Yeah, I think the way that it tells stories, and not just in anime scope, but also like traditional story.
Oh, you okay?
Yeah, this is just a coffee burp. But yeah, it's able to tell stories in using so many different resources. Like the direction of the show is I don't know. I'm not as well versed in the language and the lingo of film or TV, but you know, even so far as the music goes, there are some times where the show will just let the music play and there's no dialogue and you see images and stuff like that, but the music is what tells. Like the episode where Spike met the it was like a two-parter. It was like Venus Jazz or something. And it was the one where we met those two military, like we met the one military guy that knew Vicious in war, and then came back and was dying of this disease and wanted Spike. You know, they got into an altercation with Vicious a little bit, and he was about to die, and I forget what his name is, but he's like, hey man, send me out into space. I'm gonna die out there. And Spike's like, come on man, like we can save you. And he's like, nope, no, I would rather die on my way somewhere. Like I would rather be on my way to something, like some goal, than like die trying to keep my, you know, stay alive. So there's a moment where like he gets shot out into space, and for like 2 minutes it's just music, and the show makes you sit in that feeling for what feels like forever, but it's a really beautiful moment. And like there are moments in the show like that all over the place where you're just stuck with like an image or like a sound or a song, and then you get to the end of the show and Spike gets killed, and
Spoilers, by the way, for Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Cowboy Bebop before, like already, just assume that there are going to be spoilers for everything, including the music that we talk about. So if you don't like spoilers for music, but yeah, and then the last thing that we see in the show is the words "See you, Space Cowboy," and then that's. Or no, not See You Space Cowboy.
You're going to carry that weight.
You're going to carry that weight. Yeah. See, the guy who doesn't watch anime is already. Yeah, I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud. I'm proud that, and I'm happy that this show stuck with you because I didn't know what to expect. I'd only known that people really like this show.
Yeah, that was a big thing too. Like when Vicious first got introduced, I swear I thought every episode was just going to be them versus this guy.
Yeah.
But no, he only shows up a couple times.
Yeah, the Spike's overarching story begins and ends the show, and we see Vicious a couple of times during a couple of two-parters and important moments for Spike. But a lot happens in between those encounters so that every time you do see Vicious again, it is that much more impactful because we know what has happened to Spike and the Bebop and the gang and everything. And by the end of it, yeah, it's sad seeing Faye and Jet talk to Spike for the last time because they all know that Spike probably isn't going to make it back alive. And Faye tries to stop him, and Jet's like, yeah, screw that guy. And then Spike comes back, and they have a good heart to heart, and it's really impactful. And it's usually in anime, when a character dies, they're not really dead. There's a senzu bean, or there's Dragon Balls that you can use to revive someone, or what's the thing in Naruto?
Yeah, whatever. Not important.
Whatever jutsu. Yeah, the Rene Rebirth, that's what it is. But yeah, this show has a finality to it, and I think the images from that last episode and the feelings that are associated with the whole show that are encapsulated in those last moments, it sticks with you. And the show says it best. You're going to carry that weight. You're going to carry the weight of the show and watching all these characters develop together and then finally seeing everything kind of fall apart. Yeah. And you can never experience again that moment for the first time ever again. So, I would say it's probably a near perfect show, let alone anime, but that's just me.
Yeah, I actually, when we finished, I looked up a couple people ranking the episodes, and even the episodes these people were putting in last place, they were still saying these are still really good episodes.
Yeah.
There weren't any bad episodes.
I don't think so. I think there were definitely weird episodes, but if I wasn't laughing the whole time, I was deeply invested in what was going on. Because each character that they introduce for each new episode is either written in a really compelling way or they affect one of the members of the crew in a really compelling way.
Who was the dude on the horse?
Oh, he was an actual cowboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every time he shows up, there's a whistle, or the elevator opens and he's on the horse.
Yeah. And him and Spike are pissed at each other when they're really very similar.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And every time the whistle happens, I just imagine people in the show being like, "Where the fuck is that coming from?" It's such a good show, and I'm glad that we got to go through that together, and now we get to talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah, man, and just the other good characters. Ed was funny because we're still not sure what gender they are.
I think Ed is a girl because I think Ed's dad calls Ed his daughter at the end of the show.
But then he's like, "Or are you my son?" I don't know.
Yeah. So at any point, does it? It doesn't really matter.
No, but I just think it's funny just because, you're just like, "What are you?"
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
But everyone on the Bebop is like, "Oh, that's Ed," and it's it doesn't. So I love that even the characters in the show are that doesn't have anything to do. Yeah, it's Ed was really fun to watch because you never knew what Ed was gonna do. And being paired up with Ein was always really funny because they're the wild cards, it's anytime you see them in a scene, it's okay, well, this is either going to be really funny or they're just going to be in the background doing whatever.
And then you have like Jet,
Yeah.
which was just all around solid.
Yeah,
solid character.
Everyone in the show, but particularly in the crew, they're all tragic characters. Tragic things happen to them in one way or another. And Jet, I feel like, is the most realistic depiction of someone in like real life. Cuz all of them are written very well, but Jet feels the most down to earth. Like he's the one that kind of holds everyone together, and he admits that later in the show, like when he's by himself on the ship. But yeah, they all have really good stories. So it was hard to pick a favorite character, but it ended up going to Faye Bay.
Yeah. Anyway, we got to move on.
Yeah, I honestly could talk about Bebop all night if I could, but
yeah, definitely watch it. You better have, because everything's been spoiled already.
Everything, yeah. So one thing that we can't really spoil is the musical act that we want to talk about today, Origami Angel. So if you haven't heard of Origami Angel or their album Somewhere City, which is one of my favorite albums of all time, I don't know how it took me so long to find them. But I discovered them on my Spotify like Discover Weekly playlist. And I listened to the album, and then I found out that they had EPs. They have an EP called Gen 3, and each song is like written about a different Pokemon game from the third generation.
And I think that's exactly what you showed me first.
Yeah, because I was like, I listened. So it's the kind of the perfect mix of both music genres that David and I listen to, because we got the guitar. So it's a guitar player and a drummer, kind of like me and David, who like Pokemon and nerdy stuff like me and David. And the guitar player writes a lot of really interesting melodic lines, and the chords that he chooses to play throughout the song are they're just so much more full of life than like other punk bands or other bands like in that genre will write. And it's like, and then you got the drums, which are going hard every single second. Like every single hit on the drums feels like it matters. And then you have songs like Dr. Hoomst that end in like a halftime breakdown where the guitar is moving like chromatically, like dun 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 dun. And it's just like, I knew I had to show David because it was the perfect matchup. And I don't know what your first impressions were, if you like loved it immediately or it kind of had to grow on you a little bit. But
I remember thinking, I listened to 666 Flags. And getting to the end of that one, and I was like, yeah, all right. Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, because they're like blast beats at the end of 666 Flags.
Yeah, the vocals were not my thing.
He's got a very specific voice, and I really should... I'm gonna look up their names, because I feel bad if we're gonna talk about them on the podcast and I don't know their names.
And these two guys in this band, and they're both damn good at what they do. Mm-hmm. Like Mr. Guitar Man, who will be named shortly, like he's doing rhythm and lead at the same time and singing, which I think is crazy.
Yeah, there are some songs where like he's singing really high up there and he's got fun melodies on his voice, but then he's also like playing these like Midwestern emo like tappy guitar parts that are just they're out of this world. And the guitarist's name is Ryland Hege, or Hege. I'm sorry if I mispronounced any of these names. But I remember Ryland. I think that was a name that we like heard. I might have been like, oh, so like Ryan and Ireland. That's not those aren't the. Yeah. I'm sorry, Ryland. And then the drummer, Pat Doherty. So Ryland and Pat, if you guys are listening, or watching, I don't think you are, but we went to go see you open up for the Wonder Years just like a month ago, and y'all killed it. I think. Dude,
I remember going into that show thinking that we were going to be the only two geeking out over these guys.
Yeah.
And the entire crowd is singing along to these songs. I was like, wow.
Yeah, it was nuts. And I had not been to a show. First of all, we were on the floor. Like it was a venue that didn't have like seating, or at least like seating in, a majority of the venue. It was like general admission, standing room only. And we were pretty up close. Like we were pretty close to the stage the entire show. And so like we were in the mosh. David got in a mosh pit. I did not, because I'm a little baby. I can't handle that. But yeah, we were surrounded by people who were screaming the lyrics to like 24-hour Drive Through and the title track and all of these songs that have like big vocal parts. And we could see Ryland, like he seems like they Pat and Ryland seem like the kind of guys that like they're not doing this for like fame or recognition or whatever. Like they're just two buds like hanging out and playing music, and like they get to do that on stage. And at no point in the show were they like, put your fucking hands up, or like, come on, clap with us. It was all organic and it was all natural. And like those moments, those special crowd moments, you would see a smile come onto Ryland's face, and I was like, yeah, he's having a good time. This is great.
Yeah, and actually it wasn't until we saw them that I really started listening to them. Because I talked about Gami Gang on my on my video when I did my end of the year thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like at this point, yeah, both 666 Flags, Dr. Hooms, Tom Allen Oates. What's the one? It's like Ios. It starts with like it's on Gami Gang. Io something. It's a weird title that just I can't pronounce because I'm dyslexic as hell.
Well, yeah. So while you're looking that up, I think this is probably the most unexpected development in my musical journey, but also David's musical journey, because I speaking for him, I never thought such a band would exist. Isopropyl Alchemy.
Yeah, that one.
Isopropyl. I don't know. All of their song titles are like puns, or like they're really like there was
Bed
Bath and Batman Beyond.
Yeah, that one.
Bossa Nova Core was also
slays.
Also a really good song. They killed that live.
And the samples they used
Yes.
on the second album. I remember, I forget which song it is, but they sampled the Terry Crews bit where he talks about if he loves
Terry Tate.
Yeah, Terry Tate.
Yeah,
if he loves what he does.
Old,
and
what I don't know what the commercials were even for.
I don't know either, but like I haven't seen those videos in so long, and I immediately recognized. I was like, dude, that's good shit right there.
Yeah. So I think like for the rest of our lives, like I don't think there's going to be a more perfect band like that kind of describes our musical tastes and our like history and liking certain things like Pokemon, video games. Like we recognize Terry Tate's voice actor from Gears of War. He played Cole Train in Gears of War. And so like all of these things from our past are being brought together in a way that I never expected unless it came straight from us. And so I don't know, it's kind of magical. And so like I will be listening to this album for the rest of my life. Gami Gang forever. And definitely, I don't think we have a rating for music yet.
You listen to it.
Just listen.
If we're talking about it, listen to it.
Yeah. Or at least we'll tell you why we like it, and then you make your own judgment based on that.
I still can't believe they have an entire EP dedicated to Gen 3, which is my favorite generation.
Yeah. Again, perfect. Like it could not be more perfect. And speaking of things speaking of Pokemon, yeah, honestly, speaking of Pokemon, Pokemon Legends Arceus. So
wait a minute.
Oh. Ew.
Speaking of Pokemon,
I cannot unzip my hoodie, nor can I reveal a sick ass Rowlet / Decidueye shirt. Yeah, do you want to just briefly touch on Rowlet for a second?
No, I can't get into that right now. We don't have time for that. But I just remember watching that reveal trailer, and it was a split, like a really, really brief moment where they showed Cyndaquil first.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, cool. I haven't used Cyndaquil in forever. I might use him. And then a second later, Rowlet shows up. I was like, are you kidding me? Out of all the grass starters, they picked my boy.
Yeah, they picked his boy. So
then Oshawott. Easy skip.
All right, buddy. People, Oshawott fans, I hear you. I like the little otter clam boy.
And you know the messed up part? I love otters.
Who does?
But something about Oshawott's face really annoys me.
Here's the thing, though. Maybe it's the nose. I don't know, man. But he evolves into Samurott, and Samurott is objectively.
No. I mean, yeah. At level 16, he gets a lot better. Immediately.
Needless to say, David did not start with Cyndaquil or Oshawott, and I didn't start with Oshawott either. So Oshawott fans, I apologize, and you have my condolences. I started with Cyndaquil because Cyndaquil was the first starter that I ever completed a Pokemon game with. So from the offset, we were both really excited about the concept because we've been Pokemon fans for years. Isn't that right, Vanessa? Yeah. Okay. No.
Isn't that right, Vanessa?
Yeah. So we Daredevil references aside, I think we I can speak for both of us when I say that Pokemon is probably one of the most important franchises in my life, at least. Because it was one of those things that kind of brought us together as kids, and now as adults, like we get to geek out on it together. And so this game was introduced, and semi-open world Pokemon game. You get to actually throw and aim like your Pokeball out and catch Pokemon without having to get into battles, and it's like in prehistoric Sinnoh, and there are like regional forms and blah blah blah. Spoilers for Pokemon Legends Arceus. But yeah, I honestly think this might be my favorite Pokemon experience, either ever or at least in a very, very long time.
Dude, man, people, and rightfully so, were making the comparisons to this in Breath of the Wild. And, that game being my favorite game of the whole decade, easy, I was losing my mind in excitement over this game. And for the most part, I'd say it's done well.
Yeah, I definitely think its strongest aspects are definitely in its gameplay. For as repetitive as Pokemon can be historically, I think, ironically, going back in time into far history of the Pokemon lore was actually a really cool decision, because now we don't have towns and cities to explore. It's just the open wilderness. So as soon as the game lets you off on your own, just like in Breath of the Wild, like you could try to fight a level 60 Snorlax if you wanted to. But you're going to get your ass handed to you.
I remember seeing an Alpha Rapidash. That was the first one I saw. And I was like, what is that? And I ran. I just ran.
Yeah, it honestly, one of the main things that they try to drive home in the story of the game is that Pokemon are terrifying. And like us, having grown up with the games, and like, in the games, it's like 10-year-olds that get to use these things to take down crime organizations. I was like, How bad could it be? And then you're faced with a Pokemon that is like 11 feet tall, and firing like hyper beams at your character. And you can dodge roll and everything, but like if you get knocked out, it's the worst feeling.
And yeah, the enemy Pokemon could be like 30 levels under you.
Yeah.
And they're still taking away half your health in one hit. It's crazy.
Yeah, this game really emphasizes like you just got to be faster than the other person. Like there's not, I will say there's not as much. The strategy in this game is different. Like you can't rely on like abilities. You can't rely on like you can use items and stuff, but like the agile and the strong style attacks definitely kind of change the way that you play Pokemon games in a huge way. Because you could have a really strong Pokemon up front, but like David said, your Pokemon could get knocked out in 2 hits because you used a strong style move, and now the enemy gets to move twice. And it's like most battles you are going to lose. Like, you don't battle human people, like human characters, a lot, but like anytime you do, you're losing at least half your team. Like, unless you want to spam revives, but
Yeah, that was just. There's a lot of things that annoyed me. Just minor things like you said, like you only get experience at the end of the battle. So if anyone's fainted, they don't get anything. So you got to revive Area 1 and hope that your current Pokemon doesn't get killed.
Yeah.
A lot of times trying to get a certain Pokemon was annoying because you'd have like 45 Geodudes trying to kill you, and all you trying to get is like the like the I don't know, the
you got it,
whatever,
okay,
like a Bagon or something.
Yeah.
And you just have like all these Pokemon just chasing you constantly. You have to like run away, come back, and it was just getting really annoying. Some of the boss battles were a pain.
Yeah.
Just trying to dodge stuff. And
I mean, because that's another cool part of this game is like when you go up against they're not alpha Pokemon. They're not totem Pokemon either.
Just whatever. Just the big boys.
Yeah, the big noble Pokemon.
Noble,
yeah, when you fight noble Pokemon, cool aspect of that is like it's not just you throwing a Pokemon out and battling it. It's like you have to. Each boss battle has like specific conditions and like strategies to it. And the one thing that I will say about the boss battles is like much like an old like NES game. Like if there's an annoying boss battle, like when you finally beat it, it feels so good. And like you can start the boss battle when you lose from the point in the health bar that you left off at, which is a nice touch for people who aren't good. But I've used that feature a couple of times. I can say that. But yeah, speaking of boss battles, this game has in my opinion, single best Pokemon fight in recent memory. I don't think anything's gonna top the red boss battle and like what that means from Gold and Silver. But spoilers, when you fight Volo at the end of the game and he turns out to be the main bad guy, and he's Cynthia's ancestor, so you're like, I trust you, even though like your ancestor kicked the shit out of my little 10-year-old ass like all those years ago, I trust you. And he's with you the whole game. And then you get to Spear Pillar again, and he's like, so where do you think that last plate is? Huh? You want to revive Arceus? You only have 18 plates, right? There are 19, buddy. Right here. And he whips out the ghost plate, and he whips off his outfit, and he's like this Arceus like super fan, and he's like, the only way to bring out Arceus out of that pedestal the heavenly place above is to bring out the fucking devil. And out from behind him, Giratina shows up. And then you hear Cynthia's boss theme play, and you're like, oh my God. And so you fight his whole team of 6, you fight Giratina, and you finally get to the end of Giratina's health bar. And then he leans back, and you're like, okay, cool, it's a cool KO screen. And then his eyes glow blazing red, and he comes back up, and he's in his origin form. And then you hear the guitar, the electric guitar from his like boss fight from Platinum, like the banana, and he wipes out the rest of your team. You have to fight 8 Pokemon, and 2 of them are legendaries, and 1 of them is a Garchomp. And the first time I went into that boss battle, he fucked me up so hard because I didn't know what to expect. I had to rework my whole team just to take this guy down. And David,
I beat him first try.
Okay, you don't have to rub it in. I think that's enough out of you. So
that's what you get for using dumb moves like Calm Mind.
Okay, I don't think it wasn't until I got a Togekiss that I was able to. Oh no! It was Alolan Ninetales. Yeah, Alolan Ninetales helped me out a lot. Shout out to the guy in the Frozen Tundra place that gives you an Alolan Vulpix. But yeah, so I would say I still haven't caught Arceus yet. I still have some missions to do, but David has finished the game caught Arceus, completed the Pokédex.
Yeah, you say this game has one of the best fights ever, and it also has one of the worst fights ever with Enormous. Enormous?
Enamorous.
Dude, I had to look up like a tutorial, like how to do this thing, and everyone in the comments was like, "This is the worst thing ever." It's the worst, Nick.
So I have something to look forward to.
Oh my god!
Sounds
and then
like...
the Arceus battle was nuts. I mean, you don't actually catch him.
Yeah.
You just do like the fight thing, and it's ridiculous. But they let you continue with all the health stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Thank the Lord. And then he just joins you, and then he. You have the god of all Pokemon with you, and he can use the plates to change them in any type.
Yeah.
And then his signature move literally turns into the type that's super effective against the opposing Pokemon.
I did not know that.
So no matter what Pokemon you're fighting, it's a guaranteed super effective. And it's like, sure, why not? Like, you did everything. You caught all the Pokemon.
Yeah.
Why not just give you this? Yeah, here you go. Here's the game-breaking Pokemon.
Yeah, they just the equivalent of like the Nintendo Switch Game Shark.
Yeah, it's just the BFG in Pokemon.
Yeah. So I think if Scarlet and Violet, the upcoming Pokemon games, are anything like Arceus and take a lot of those same gameplay elements from it, I think those very well could be my favorite Pokemon games ever. I mean, obviously we have a lot of time before those are even close to coming out. But Sprigatito gang, all night long. Sprigatito, you're my boy.
Duck.
Or girl.
Duck.
Or whatever you identify as,
Duck.
because Pokemon don't have to conform
Duck.
to. Who are you gonna start with?
The duck.
Okay.
Quaxley, are you kidding me right now?
He's just the fanciest little.
Yeah, just look at his pose, man.
Yeah, that's all. That tells you all you need to know about Quaxley.
Like, I get it, but I don't like cats, so naturally I'm steering away.
Well, and that's the thing. I didn't choose Litten in Sun and Moon, which very hot take, are my favorite Pokemon games. But I chose Rowlet in that game because, I mean, who's not going to pick Rowlet?
And that's crazy because I've chosen Grass every gen since 3.
Which, I mean, it is crazy. I was a fire boy myself for a while, and then I did Chespin and then Rowlet, and then I went back to fire in Sword and Shield. I got a Score Bunny, and that was crazy because that was a random pull. I ordered it from Pokemon Center, and they give you the little keychain if you pre-order it, and I said, whoever's keychain I get, whoever keychain plushie I get, that's going to be my starter for the game. And like the months leading up to Sword and Shield, I knew I wanted to get a Score Bunny. And check it out. There he is. The one and only. Slap a slice of Kraft cheese, Kraft singles above his nose. It's a Score Bunny, baby. And I love him. And
I think I remember I was also going to go Score Bunny. And then they reveal the final starters, and everything changed.
Yeah, David being a drummer and
you kidding me?
Yeah, it's tailor made for David, Grookey and Rillaboom. Which reminds me, I have to go back and finish Sword. So that honestly might be what I do with the rest of my night. But everything being said, I hope you were able to learn a little bit more about us, and
yeah, I hope they better make more Legends games. This better not be a one-off thing.
No, I've been seeing a lot of people use the concept of like a Pokemon Legends Celebi and like putting it in the Johto region. Yeah. I would be all about that.
Honestly, just do it with every region, everyone. I don't care.
Yeah, you can do a Pokemon Legends Deoxys. You could do a Pokemon Legends
Rayquaza.
Yeah. But he already has his game.
Make another one.
Oh my god.
Make another one.
All right, Game Freak, if
you
you're
hear
watching,
me, Nintendo, make Pokemon Legends Rayquaza.
He's serious. He is absolutely serious. I've seen this look in his eyes. I've seen this look in his eyes before, and last time there was plenty of bloodshed, and I don't want to go back to that. So Nintendo, Give this man what he wants. And Origami Angel, if you're watching, thanks for watching the whole time. We love you. And to everyone else.
But anyway, Lego Star Wars.
Oh my God.
Lego Star Wars. Okay. I beat all 9 episodes.
Yep.
And I've only played the Lego Star Wars games.
Yep.
The Lego Marvel Superheroes, the first one.
Yep.
And then what was the third one? Did I play a third Lego game? Wow. I don't think so. Was that only? I thought I said 3. Anyway. Okay, yeah, no, it was 3. It was just Complete Saga, the Skywalker Saga, and then the Marvel one. Out of all these 3 games, Skywalker Saga is the weakest one.
Oh shit.
Sorry, but dude, 19 hours it took me to get through all 9 episodes. And as great as the game looks and as fun as the combat is, I can't help but feel like the levels are so weak. Because unlike this Complete Saga where you have the Cantina bar and then you just go into the 6 chapters of every episode.
Yeah.
And these were like long chapters. Like you played a lot of the movie. And in Skywalker Saga, you have like 20 hub world to explore. Like every planet in the Star Wars movies is explorable in this game, which is awesome. But that means that as far as a story goes, you just go through the planets and stuff, and you either continue story or start level. And the levels is like what you would expect, where you have to like build up your True Jedi meter and all that stuff. But some of them were so short. There was one in A New Hope where the whole level was literally just defending Chewbacca while he fixed the Millennium Falcon. And that was the whole level was this one room. And then in Return of the Jedi, the last thing you do is you fight Darth Vader. And then they blow up the Death Star in a cutscene. That was a whole level in Complete Saga, and it was just a cutscene in this game.
Oof.
It's like I kind of get it. You have 9 movies, but it's like these levels are so hollow, and you have like 130 side missions. Maybe cut down on maybe make like 30 side missions, and give more attention to the levels. You know, like the building stuff and the fighting enemies and that stuff. Like I remember in episode 2 in Complete Saga, it was such a fun moment where like they're all captured and there's this big ass war in like the we're here to save you, master. Good job. You know that scene?
No, I'm not a Star Wars guy.
Oh man, okay,
I'm sorry.
If you've seen it, you know. And it was such a fun part in Complete Saga. You just beat the hell out of all these droids and stuff. And then in the Skywalker Saga, you fight like the 3 big animals, and that's it. That's it. You don't. There's no like war or anything.
Cut clean.
It's like they're so short and so hollow, and I'm just like, it kind of sucks. But I will have a lot of fun exploring the hub worlds and finding all the bricks, because that's pretty much all you can do in the game.
Short and hollow, huh?
I was just trying to speed through that really quickly.
That's okay.
We are running out of time.
Hey, man, I appreciate you doing that, and I'm sure they do too. I'm sure you do too. And I think there you have it, folks. I literally have no thoughts on Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga because I have not played it, because I have so many games that I have to finish, and as I finish those, including Resident Evil 8, I will absolutely bring them onto the podcast here.
But there was a lot of funny moments in that game.
Yeah,
like specifically I laughed so hard. I think it was episode 1. The battle droids are just so amusing in the game, just because
like Roger.
Yeah, the Roger. Yeah, those guys. There was a line where one of them was like, "Nice capes, Jedi. Where'd you get it? Your mom knit it for you?" And I don't know why, but that was so funny. Oh man, that would just crack me up. And yeah, I mean the humor is there, like all the Lego games are.
Yeah.
But yeah, the levels are super lacking, but
Maybe.
everything else kind of kicks ass.
Yeah. So definitely. I don't know, man. Like if Netflix or like GameFly were still around, are they still around? Is GameFly still around? Do they have game rentals still?
I have no idea, honestly. I think it's just Game Pass now.
I think game rentals is also known as buying on Steam and then returning
Within 2
like
hours.
beating the game in 2 hours and then returning it. Yeah. So I mean, if you had to rate the game on, you have more.
Really quick.
Yes.
Sonic, because I see the Sonic thing on your bed. The Sonic Origins reveal.
Yeah.
Which came out, I think, today, but a week ago from when you're seeing this.
Yeah. You don't have to ruin the magic. We're recording this the day of, like the Tonight Show and all the late night shows. Those happen live in real time. Just kidding.
But yeah, I don't really care, to be honest, because it's Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles, and then CD. I've beaten all of them except the original one. So
I'll just let you borrow and I buy it because I have not beaten any of those games. I am, in fact, a plebeian. Please throw stones at me because I haven't finished. But I'm honestly kind of stoked. I definitely still want to get Mania on Switch and beat through that. Because, I had Sonic games growing up on my mom's desktop computer, and I could never beat them because my hand-eye coordination still possibly is in the top 10 percentile in the world of worst. I guess that'd be bottom 10 percentile. But you know what I mean. So I'm bad at games, especially platformers, so I'm hoping to kind of redeem myself.
But yeah, I think the coolest part about it is it seems you can play as Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles in any of the games.
Yeah.
Because I saw Knuckles running around like the OG Sonic.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's kind of cool.
That's sick.
Maybe you can spin dash too. But anyway, this is running on way too long. I just wanted to bring that up right quick.
Yeah. No, and you know, we'll definitely have some clips on YouTube if you want to just skip to the good stuff. I mean, who am I kidding? The whole podcast is good stuff.
Just the classic material. But anyway, that was episode 2 of the Too Bad We Didn't Get Into Cars podcast featuring a 2008.
Hold on, we're going to get this right. 2008 Lotus Evora.
Yeah, Lotus Evora.
Yeah. I have been Nick Scarpinato.
I have been David Kapusha Cars.
This has been Vanessa. And
Vanessa,
you have been the best auto heads that a couple of co-hosts can ask for. So tune in next time. Tune in next week. Same bat time. Same car channel. I am going to
go to sleep.
I'm not going to go to sleep.
I'm going to go to sleep.
David's going to go to sleep. And yeah, I think that's a wrap.
All right. Bye-bye, y'all.